my definition of segregationist, yes, sir. And that is a segregationist, a person that loves his race enough or other races enough, has enough of racial pride and integrity to want to preserve them. And I think a racist is one that doesn't care enough for his race or another race to where they don't care whether they're amalgamated or destroyed or not. No, I think that forced racial segregation is criminal and unconstitutional, and I think forced racial integration is criminal and unconstitutional. I think either one of them is cruel.
Well, don't you?
If a country can finally get to the point of saying, well, you're going to hire this person, you're going to promote this person, you're going to serve this person, then the same country can come right around and tell you you've got to work for that person, you've got to eat with that person, you've got to be served by that person.
Don't you believe that to preserve that society that we need laws of the land? That's why we have a society. And we cannot make exception to these laws just because a person happens to be black or white. Don't you believe that?
We've got most of these laws because we don't abide by the laws of God, though. This teaches inferiority to me.
As governor,
and it's wrong, and it's criminal, and it's cruel to teach any one person that he is inferior to another race or his race is inferior.
But as governor of the state of Georgia, did you go by the laws of God or by the laws of the state?
I go by the laws of God and by the laws of the state.
As you see fit.
What is...
No, it's not as I
Sadly, this clip is still relevant from December of 1970 when NFL Hall of Famer Jim Brown debated segregationist Governor Lester Maddox of Georgia.
I don't know any Southerners that don't like, white Southerners don't like blacks. Do you know of any?
They like black people, but they like them in a role, you see. They like them when they're very humble and they're very loyal. During the days of slavery, whenever a slave was more or less humble and he did what he was told, that he was in good favor with the master. But whenever a slave was too educated, if he became aware of his own self and he wanted to become more than the master wanted him to become, then he was a bad slave. He was then put down because he represented a threat to the already established kind of white society.
This is exactly right, and Maddox hated hearing this.
Well, now you're just trying to point it at black people only.
Because
but they've been throughout
the
the history
subject
of the
we're
world,
talking about.
There's been discrimination. Black against black, black against white, white against black, and white against white. There always has been, there always will be. And you're not going to wipe it out, and Tricky Dick's not going to wipe it out, and the Supreme Court's not going to wipe it out.
You're not addressing it. Well, you know something, Governor? Believe it or not, I don't think that integration should be the number one thrust of our civil rights leaders anyway, because I think what we're really talking about in this country is economic development of black people, because I've found
economic development of all people.
All right, let's pause here, because we've heard this fairly recently from the Maddox types.
So you won't say Black Lives Matter?
John, I really believe that all lives matter.
Black lives don't matter at all to me. White lives matter. You've had everything. Free everything. Blacks have been coddled for years. Free college. Free everything. Your test scores are higher. Everything. Free college. Free everything. And it's still not enough and never will be. Never will be.
So you're saying you're a white supremacist? That's what I'm hearing. Sorry, what's your name?
Black lives don't matter to me.
The conversation would only get more heated. When Maddox gloated of having an open-door policy at the governor's mansion, Brown asked, did you have any problem with the white bigots? Because he claimed he did so much for black folks. Maddox got heated and twisted the words of the host and guests, claiming they called his 4 million admirers bigots, which was completely untrue. Maddox would then threaten to walk off. Brown laughed, but Cavett pointed to the chair, demanding the governor have a seat once more so they could hash it out. Once everyone was seated, Cavett said to Maddox, if I called any of your admirers bigots who are not bigots, I apologize. When Maddox rebuked this apology and demanded more, Cavett said, I apologize to the extent that a bigot would be my way of characterizing your admirers. You're likable at your most outrageous moments. Maddox replied, what do you mean outrageous? You haven't apologized yet and you've got 15 seconds. Maddox would then walk off with Cavett following him out of the studio. He would not return. I can't tell if Governor Maddox is all showman and part politician or not. Maddox did not accept Cavett's apology. We also should not forget when Lester Maddox despised Muhammad Ali fighting in his state, particularly the city of Atlanta against Jerry Quarry. Quote, we shouldn't let him fight for money if he won't fight for his country. Maddox said. Tobias Wolff of Penn Law would write on his Threads account of the clip that we saw, "Here is segregationist Lester Maddox in 1970 showing his true colors when put on a talk show with the great Jim Brown. May he rest in peace." Maddox could just as easily be a MAGA hack condescending to Abby Phillip on her own show, or a Trump supporter yelling "All Lives Matter" at a person trying to talk about the lives of Black Americans. The playbook is old, tired, and predictable. Well put. EBSCO would write of Maddox's legacy that he was an influential and controversial figure in the mid-20th century American politics, particularly known for his staunch segregationist views. Born into a working-class family in Atlanta, he opened the Pickrick restaurant in 1947, where he gained notoriety for his conservative political advertisements and resistance to desegregation. Notably, he became a symbol of defiance against the Civil Rights Act of 1964, famously wielding a pickaxe handle to confront demonstrators outside his establishment. Instead of complying with federal mandates, Maddox chose to close his restaurant rather than serve African American customers, asserting that his actions were based on principles of states' rights and free enterprise rather than racism. So let's go over a few things. The first is this. I believe, as someone who not only studied media in college, have had a few different jobs, served in many different roles, this sort of model will never be emulated again, and it will never be done this way again, because back in the day, Dick Cavett and his show served a serious purpose, which was bringing on opposing voices. And one might say, well, we're doing that now. Yes, but it is very, very different. The media space is loaded with different shows. Number two, a lot of these podcasts, not all of them, a lot of them, try to invoke anger and rage by having opposing viewpoints where it is not kept to a certain degree of not going over the top because they want that viral moment to plug said podcast. I think that's a detriment. And also, as we have learned, anybody can get into this media space, which is awesome. The point of entry and the bar to get in is very, very low. All you really need is a cell phone at this point. But it does say something how well-trained journalists, granted, I have my critiques. Well-trained journalists don't participate in what the podcasters participate in now, where they are untrained, they are unseasoned. And if you even look at the Theo Vaughns and others of the world, they're chiming in on topics that they don't know about, period. A few other points. Am I surprised with Lester Maddox's rhetoric? No. But I think that he is a disciple in adopting the Southern strategy, which basically said, well, we can't say the N-word anymore. What we have to do is find the correct way to talk about these issues and signal to the base that, yes, we are still racist. We're just going to find better, more professional, more coded ways to do this. And the best example I can give is when a former Nazi, I want to say he was on CNN years back, said that he and his family, Nazis, would watch Tucker Carlson's show on TiVo. They would watch it twice. They watch it live and then the recorded TiVo version. Because what they wanted to do was see how he would dog whistle to them the beliefs that they had while putting it into scripts and fitting into a mainstream outlet. If that doesn't tell you everything, I don't know what does. Lastly, on Jim Brown, he is obviously Hall of Famer, amazing football player, civil rights icon. What rubbed many the wrong way, rightfully, is that he was in the Oval Office with Kanye West wearing a red Make America Great Again hat and lending his platform and support to Donald Trump. You could see why it would rub many the wrong way. Hey, I appreciate you watching. Now, if you can, please do become a channel member by going to youtube.com/TYTsports and clicking the join button. If that's too much for you, you can just go to tyt.com/join to become a member. It helps all of us out here at the Young Turks and keeps our network afloat. In addition, you could follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate the love. Have a great day.